So today I'm going to be commenting on an episode of Friends about crisis of identity. Welcome to Real Life and Archetypes. My name is Marina. So I'm going to be using very brief clips of Friends. I'm hoping that I won't have any issues with copyright. This is to me fair use, and I just want to read a note that I'm going to be using very brief clips from the TV show Friends, from one episode of the TV show Friends, to explore and discuss archetypes. And this is intended for commentary and educational purposes under fair use. All rights to the clips belong to the respective owners. So I'm getting this out of the way, and I'm hoping I won't have any issues. Really hoping, because this is so interesting. So I was watching episode 11 of season 2, and suddenly there was a scene between Rachel and her mother that really caught my attention. And then one thing led to another. I was going to do just very short clips, and now here I am. I'm going to do a bigger video. So I'm just going to jump right in, and I want to show you the first video, the first clip here about this.
I can't believe you're so uptight about your mom coming.
I know, but it's the first time, and I just don't want her to think that because I didn't marry Barry, my life is total crap, you know?
All right, so this is going to set very well the issue here. Rachel is anxious because her mother is coming. Now, her family, according to what we've been seeing so far in the show, this is season 2, episode 11, we know that her family is, probably a little posh, and they're very much focused on the world of appearances and security. This is about, having status, a position of status. And in her case, it was dependent on the person that she married. We began the show Friends in the first episode with this character of Rachel, which is fascinating, by the way, according to the hero's journey, because she left her fiancé at the altar. And now she starts a new life. So that's the hero's journey. Again, an introduction, a new life. And her character is really about the hero's journey. It really is about a coming of age of someone who just starts over because she realizes that her life, she didn't feel like she was respecting her true self and her sense of potential. And that phase is very scary, but she does it, and she's very brave for doing it, but it's very scary. And of course, you have to start from the bottom. And now there she is. She is a waitress. And now the sense of her appearance and what is going to look like to her mother is starting to give her anxiety. As she awaits for her mother to arrive, she's very nervous. She's just a waitress, and she was supposed to be married to a dentist and to be Mrs. Barry, whatever his last name is, which I don't remember. But that was supposed to be her title. I want to point out, so already here we're visiting several crises of identity. The first one is mother-daughter. This is a dynamic of family. And this is, for those who know astrology a little bit, this sign of the family archetype, this is Cancer, and it is a cardinal sign. And what it means is that it refers to an energy of dynamics where we're going to have to face different phases of stages of development and evolution. Okay, so the family archetype, the family is supposed to take us from small to bigger to adulthood so that we function in the world. And there's a great need for security in this archetype. Another archetype, when I speak of the world of appearances and position and status, that's another archetype. This is the one that I call the older self, Capricorn in the Zodiac. Also a sign that is going to induce crises of identity, and particularly in belief in the identity that we start to build up as we get older. This is a very interesting archetype because as we get older, it takes over And this is when I've done a few videos that you will be able to see in this channel about the crisis of belief that we have, for example, for people who are in the army, special operators. I mentioned that a lot, and they have no trust in the system that has sent them to war, and they start to have a crisis of belief in the system, the government, the society, identity that they have, what they did, the meaning of that. This is all actually completely natural and universal. It always happens. So anyway, we start here with Rachel, crisis of identity, the hero archetype, Aries in the Zodiac. That is also a cardinal archetype that also has crisis of identity. Who am I? Am I fulfilled or not? Do I have to go on to the hero's journey? So now we're going to listen to the mother. The mother has arrived and listen to what she says, because that's very interesting.
This is just so exciting. You know, I never worked. I went straight from my father's house to the sorority house to my husband's house. I am just so proud of you.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, so now the mother is really telling us that she went from her mother's house, her father's house. I can't remember. Let me just. I don't remember now. The family house to the sorority, and then to the husband. So this is a path of security. Okay, nothing wrong with security. Trust me. But the issue here is that what she's expressing, she said, I never worked, I never did that. She's looking at her daughter who is doing something that is not what she did. And she is actually, and she has surprised Rachel, because Rachel was, very fearful about her mother being judgmental. That's the older self archetype, usually looking at people, and thinking, oh my God, these are nobodies. They don't have a title. They're not legitimate and all that kind of stuff. But the mother actually is very excited, and she's expressing that she never did that. And she's saying, well, she never worked. Well, she raised her children. But what the most important thing that she expresses is about the path. She went from the family home to the sorority and then to the husband. What is missing there? Because the 4 cardinal archetypes that speak of stages of development and crisis of identity, there are 4. You have the family, relationships, society, okay, family, Cancer, relationship, Libra, society, that's Capricorn, the older self. Which one is missing? The hero. That's the one that determines the individual path. That's the original intention that we need to respect. And when we don't, we go through the biggest crisis of identity, the one where we feel that we are not fulfilled, that there is something missing. And this is what she is expressing right now, the mother. I never did that. And I went straight from mommy and daddy to the sisters, the protection of the sisterhood of the sorority. And then I went into the relationship. So all of that means security. She never did what her daughter did. So the mother is excited about what the daughter did. So let me just find the next clip. Is it this one?
You have some life here, sweetie.
I know. And Mom, I realize you and Daddy were upset when I didn't marry.
Okay, let me just back up here. Because now the mother, again, she's in a state of excitement looking at the life of her daughter. So she has new eyes. This is very much, the hero going into a new world and looking at the difference between the ordinary world that you have and the special world that is there. She's looking at something that looks special to her. And let me just back up here again, and how she manifests and expresses her excitement.
You have some life here, sweetie.
I know. And Mom, I realize you and Daddy were upset when I didn't marry Barry and get the big house in the suburbs with all.
Okay, I know that you and Dad were upset because I didn't get the husband and the big house in the suburb. Again, expression of security. You were upset because I didn't follow that path of security. again, the hero is the archetype that is supposed to discover what it is that you really intend to do, what you really want to do. And it commands us to do what we love, okay, as the original intention. It doesn't mean that everything in life is about doing what you love, what you want, but the primary intention. And so here, what is against the hero in the hero's journey? The whole world, everything, because the world has something already in store for you. The family has a path. The marriage is taking you on a path. Society has a path for you. And the hero wants to do something that is very individual.
All the security and everything, but this is just so much better for me, you know?
I do know.
Look at what the mother says. I do know. She knows. So there's something going on with the mother. And the excitement that she sees in her daughter, by the way, that's also an archetype. Let me just mention that later because this is going to become a little too much. Listen, right now we're going to look at the mother-daughter relationship. This is what caught my attention, particularly in one scene that I will show later. Let me carry on. Because where am I now? Number 4. Let's just carry on here.
I look at you and I think, oh, this is what I want.
So this is what I want. That's language of the hero archetype. Because this kind of energy, especially when you're in times of crisis, it's going to manifest inside of you as a volcano that can be very, very frustrated because you want to do what you want to do. The issue is that it's not defined. But right now, the mother is looking at this new life of her daughter, and she's starting to feel this energy that she wants. You know, I never got to do what I wanted. This is what I want.
For me?
Well, not just for you.
Well, what do you mean?
I'm considering leaving your father.
There it is. This is the big one. So, why is this important? Now the mother has put a huge thing on her daughter here. This is a crisis of identity, okay? Because now the family union, the family thing is going to be disturbed, and there's also echo of relationship dynamics, a relationship that is going to break. So there is something going on here. This is going to disturb Rachel a lot. So understandable, anybody would react to that. But I just want you to follow the track here of what is happening, because there is more than meets the eyes here. And I'm losing track of the numbers. Let's just carry on.
I just can't believe this is happening. I mean, when I was little, everybody's parents were getting divorced, you know? I just figured as a grown-up, I wouldn't have to worry about this.
So again, we're talking about the family archetype. We're talking about themes of security. Look how when we are going into our emotions, we talk about our childhood. This is a moment of vulnerability, and immediately our emotions go into a state of thinking about memories of childhood. This is something that happens all the time. We are vulnerable. Our system is suddenly in shambles. Now, the family is so important that it gives us a sense of security inside. And whatever happens in the family is going to affect us with our emotions. And what we do with that is massive. So let's carry on.
Well, is there any chance that you can look at this as flattering? I mean, she's doing it because she wants to be more like you.
Well, then, you know, couldn't she have just copied my haircut?
Okay, this is a funny thing because when Friends was very famous, everybody was copying Rachel's haircut. Another thing is that Monica is telling Rachel that this is all flattering because the mother is very impressed with her daughter and she wants to emulate the daughter. So that's an archetype. It's called the greatest self. It's Leo in the Zodiac. And this is an archetype that makes us look at the things that we know are great in terms of personality and the things that we do. This is great, and we want to continue that. This is the sense of legacy. So when we're little, we're younger, we say, oh, I want to be a policeman, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be a dancer. This kind of expression is because we see something that is great and we want to be that. And the issue with this archetype is that we emulate and copy, but we're not authentic. That's a whole other thing. Let's just continue with our friends here.
Oh, this is so much fun. Just the girls.
All right, the fun and the girls. So the mother is feeling free and it's feeling comfortable. This is very interesting because we're going to see the other two, Rachel, who is her daughter, and Monica, starting to get uncomfortable. And I will explain why.
Do you know what we should do? Does anybody have any marijuana?
So this is the hero, okay? This is the hero calling, oh, I want to do something, and it's bold and it's new and it's rebellious, and oh, that's very much of the hero. So the mother is she really wants to try something new in life. This is archetypal, what you're watching here. This is a TV show, but this is stuff that you see in real life all the time.
All right, look, no one's smoking pot around all this food.
Well,
All right. Who is being the responsible person here? Pay attention to that.
that's fine. I never did it. I just thought I might.
I never did it. I just thought I might. It's about doing. It's about taking action. That's the hero archetype that wants to emerge.
So, what's new in sex?
Oh boy, that's that's a big one. Nobody can hear that from their parents. So I'm telling you, the family dynamic, think about who is the parent, who's the child, and now who is behaving how. Okay, the mother is completely disturbing the sense of hierarchy and position that has to do with the family archetype.
What's new in sex?
Well, the only man I've ever been with is your father.
I'm dicing. I don't hear.
Okay, the family were supposed to be comfortable. The mother is feeling incredibly comfortable because she's feeling emboldened by her desires. And the others are feeling uncomfortable. This is a family situation. We're supposed to feel comfortable in our own skin with family, and everything is upside down right now. Everything is upside down, and that's what matters.
Hear anything?
Okay, let me just, I'm just dicing here. I'm not hearing anything. So this is typical because usually when we are the children, we don't want to hear our parents talk about stuff like that or behave in the way that we behave as the younger ones. This is because the natural order of things here is being disturbed, okay? And that makes people very uncomfortable. Let's get to the last clip that I want to show you because that's the big one.
I mean, this is no offense to your dad, sweetie, but I was thinking there might be more.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what?
There might be more. That's an expression of unfulfillment. I was thinking there might be more. This is a feeling and a stage when we feel those things. This is what precedes taking action and the hero's journey. And the hero archetype, by the way, we take action that can be very, very dangerous, okay? Because we don't know we don't understand the energy, and we take actions that may be a little too much. So that's why it's such an interesting archetype to understand.
I cannot have this conversation with you.
All right.
I mean, God, you just come here and you drop this bomb on me before you even tell Daddy.
You dropped this bomb on me. The mother told her that she's considering divorcing the dad. Considering divorcing her dad. So let me finish this clip because this is just a big one. I might replay it again.
What? What do you want? want? Do you want my blessing?
No.
You want me to talk you out of it?
No.
Then what? What do you want?
Well, I guess I figured of all people you would understand.
Why on earth would I understand this?
You didn't marry your Barry, honey. But I married mine.
Oh.
Oh, indeed. So this is a big one. All right. So the situation here, this is the last clip. I might replay it later. This is a big one. First of all, notice the words. I love paying attention to words. She said, "You dropped a bomb on me." It feels like a burden more than a bomb. It's a burden. You know why? Because the mother is disturbing the natural order of things. It's supposed to be the mother and the child, the family developing the child from small to big, supporting. It usually doesn't happen perfectly. Of course, there are always issues and crises of identity. That's natural. But the mother is behaving like an irresponsible person now. And even Monica reacts, hey, nobody's smoking anything here. And somebody has to put some order here because the mother is completely out of bounds. That's what the hero, the Aries energy, when we have it. And by the way, don't think in terms of the sun. We all have that energy, some of us more than others. And when we don't know how it works and how it can manifest, oh my God, the big thing is that it creates collateral damage and conflicts. Because the conflicts is inside of us. There's a sense of that we're not fulfilled, not fully. And it can manifest at different stages in life, which, by the way, is normal because we are supposed to keep evolving and growing. We're not supposed to just be the same person. That's at the end, when we're done. When we stop growing, then we can die, okay? But we're supposed to be going through phases. The issue here is that this burden, I call it the burden, because in crisis of identity, the mother now has disturbed this sense of hierarchy, which, by the way, is mirrored from the family to society. That's why they are linked. Cancer, Capricorn are opposite signs. That's because they are actually completely related. Whatever happens as we grow up is going to have an impact on our ability to integrate society. If we don't feel secure in ourselves, we're going to have huge insecurities in the real world, in the outside world. And if we have a situation such as Rachel, where her family puts so much emphasis on you have to have this identity in society, there might be issues of discarding the personal development of a child. And so the child doesn't feel that they have the right to really pay attention to what they feel. Everybody thinks that emotions and what you feel is about crying and weeping and being weak. Actually, no, it's about the personalization of your experiences, and it's an incredibly powerful thing to do because that's what is going to make us special, unique, and have way more authenticity and fun. It's incredibly important. So when this is discarded, by the way, when you're talking to a child and just talking to them about expectation, it's like you're totally invalidating their existence unless they have attained this higher, status. So I know a lot about that. This is a case in my family. We were raised like that. It's like you're nobody unless you have a title. So what happens between when you're born and you get the title, it's like you don't exist, okay? And this has huge consequences. So what happens is that the mother here has completely destabilized Rachel. Why? Because now Rachel is called to be another kind of role. That's not the daughter. That's not the mother anymore. Now the mother is like a teenager and the daughter is like, whoa, I'm in a crisis of identity. Here's a thing that is most interesting to me here, because the face of Rachel, I have to play this thing again. Maybe I can just skip it.
This is no offense.
Let me just skip it to, I would like you to see that face.
Read mine.
Oh.
you didn't marry your berry, but I married mine. Look at Rachel's face here. Again, the archetype of relationships is also mentioned here. And it's actually important because the behavior of the mother is sort of wanting to be a friend to her daughter. And this is about relationships. And relationships, it's about engagement and participation on equal terms. And that doesn't feel natural when you're talking about, parent and child. But it's actually a crisis of identity that happens to all of us. And another component is that you start to see that's a crisis of identity. You see your parents with feet of clay. So let me just look for this quote, feet of clay. This is an expression that I didn't know until a few years ago. And someone explained to me that this is so archetypal that it's in the freaking Bible. So just think about how important these things are, that they are mentioned in scriptures. Feet of clay is a phrase used to describe a weakness or flaw in someone who is otherwise admired or seen as strong. It comes from the story in the Bible where a statue is made of various materials, with its feet being made of a mix of iron and clay. The statue looks powerful, but because its feet are partly made of clay, it's actually vulnerable and easily broken. This is what is happening to Rachel now. The whole world is changing. Not only did she break, from the home, she break the boundaries, leaving her fiance at the altar and starting a new life from scratch. But now the mother is manifesting desires that are completely breaking the dynamic of their relationship, the family relationship. And this is the beginning of seeing your parents as human beings, as people. Our parents are people too, and that's a crisis of identity that we all go through. It's not just about seeing your parents as human beings. It's also because the balance of burden, and remember how she said you dropped that bomb on me, and I would substitute the word with the word burden. And that's a natural thing in the human family. You have to think in terms of family is the human family. That's also the country. That's also the traditional cultures that you belong to. When you go through crisis of identity, at first you're a child, you're taken care of, but you're supposed to become mature and start to take care of yourself. And here's another thing. The balance is going to go upside down, because now we have to start to also develop our ability to support others. And now, as a child, to think of your parents as something that you have to take care of, and you start to develop a sense of responsibility. Look at Monica's reaction. Hey, nobody's smoking anything here. She's the young one, and she has to, be the disciplinarian. But this sense of crisis of identity, and referring also to the crisis of the marriage, okay? So the marriage is breaking, and that's Rachel's parents. She also broke a marriage. She never got married. She just left the guy at the altar. And now her mother comes with this super individuality, wanting to do things, and approaching Rachel from a place of, let's be friends, let's have like a relationship, we're equal. That's very disturbing, and it doesn't feel natural, and it disturbs the order of things. So anyway, this is what I wanted to mention, and I want to finish with a very beautiful quote, because I want you to think about the concept of family versus society. Family is a society. It's supposed to be a society. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen that very often anymore to have a system, a real system, because actually the system of the family is supposed to give us like a head start for the real world. Because everywhere you have people, those are human beings, and you're going to replicate when you get in close quarters with people. You're going to replicate vulnerabilities, incompatibilities, anxieties, feeling uncomfortable that you may carry from your experiences in the family system. And I love this quote by Carl Jung, who says, "Without the depths, I do not have the heights." And for me, that's important because, like I said, there was a primary emphasis in my own family about status being important, going to important schools and stuff like that. And the problem is that you forget about childhood and the development of a child and what you need. And it is so important that this is the depths and the roots that you have and that you will need in order to gain and climb towards the heights. And the heights, what it actually represents is a higher level of beings. We think in terms of achievement, ambition, VIP, stuff like that, but it's about being at a higher level of being. And this is a massively important thing in life. The problem is that when we go where we're told we're supposed to go, we forget about our calling, and then it manifests as another crisis of identity in the Capricorn archetype, the older self, which is, like I mentioned before, actually the person that I am is just not, and you feel crystallized because now a long time has passed and you're frozen. You're even frozen in your own psyche, in your own behavior, and you're just burdened by the years and the time that has passed. And you've lost your sense of self and the sense that can be the self that can be excited by new things, which doesn't have to go away. It should be regenerated, and we still want to do things. Of course, the body, the passage of time, I'm getting older too. I feel it. But the psyche doesn't have to die. And so I love this quote by Carl Jung. This is from the Red Book, which is quite a trip to read. "Without the depths, I do not have the heights." Think of how many people, they are in this VIP world and they are completely devoid of a soul of depth. They're just doing what they think they're supposed to do. And then in the end, you don't have this human being inside of you that needs to grow. So in honor of all of those dynamics, because of this episode that I was just watching to relax for a while, which I badly need, and now I'm here again with all these archetypes, I hope that I've given you a sense of, so many crises of identity and how archetypes are everywhere. And so I'm just going to leave you now, and please like and subscribe. This helps the channel. It's free and you can do that and help. This is a very tiny channel that I'm just starting, and I appreciate every approval and every subscription. So thank you very much, and I will see you very soon.